Hi guys, so today I wanted to do a video on our foundation and concealer because I know that it's got a lot of questions and it is quite amazing. I personally don't think I will ever use another foundation or concealer ever again in life, but there are some things that you need to know and some things that you need to take into consideration because this is not a normal foundation. Before we get started, I'm gonna prime my face with our primer because it just makes everything, I don't know what it does, but it just makes, it's just amazing. So I put on my spray primer and I just want you guys to look at my skin beforehand. It's not perfect and it is a little, I just got out of the shower, hence my wet hair, and when I get out of the shower my face is a little rosy and I get some red spots because it just gets irritated easily, and I just have really sensitive skin. So usually after a while it'll calm down, but I usually, like, these red spots really kind of get pronounced right after I get out of the shower. So here's my concealer palette from Limelight that I use. Right now I'm using these two, and I'm using more of the darker one. Unless I'm contouring, then I use that lighter one. Just because I've tried to use that matte all over my face and it's way too light. And then I use that sometimes on like my inner corners and stuff like that, so that's why I got the lighter one. I'm working on building my kit because I want to, when I do makeup on clients, I do want to switch over to using a lot of Limelight stuff. But anyway, so what I do with this is I get the darker color. Well, the in this set it would be the mid range, and that number, let me tell you what number that is so that you can know what I'm using. I think it's number 3. Yeah, it's number 3. You can see that. So it's number 3 concealer, and so I go in and I just get some on my brush and I just go over the real red parts of my face. And I kind of just go over them like that and try and cover them up. And I just kind of swish over the top just real softly. If you press too hard, I've noticed, and this is really, I guess, goes with for any foundation, but if you press too hard, it just like works it away. And so you want to buff it in, but you also want it to show up, you know, and like hide those dark spots. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get a little bit more. These are so pigmented that they last forever. Our foundation and concealer is 50% pigment, which, to give you an idea, like any other foundation, whether it's like drugstore or over the makeup counter, is usually 18 to 22%, I think. And so, which that's fine. Before I used this, I used Estee Lauder's Double Wear, which was great, but this is so much more, because it's 50% pigmented, it's so much more pigmented. You need just a little bit. These two are the ones that I got in my starter kit in June, and it is now December and I have not even hit pan yet. I use so little of it, and I use it every day that I wear makeup, which is probably it's the majority of the time, like 4 to 6 times a week. So I'm just gonna buff over. And now you don't have to do this every day. Sometimes I don't use concealer, sometimes I just go over, I just go straight to foundation. And I do that a lot in the summertime. If you just want like a wash of color, or, you know, sometimes I just need it to just even out all of my all of my skin, but or like if I'm in a hurry, sometimes I'll just use foundation. But for the most part, what I've learned to look really flawless, you look flawless, but at the same time it looks really natural, is I put this underneath. So the thing with pimples is you're not gonna cover, like if you have texture on your face, you're not gonna cover texture. There's no way to cover it. Unless it's like really minute texture, but like I have a lot of texture on my face. I understand that there's not a whole lot I'm going to be able to do about that. What I'm really concerned with is like the redness. I really want to get rid of the redness. So that's really what I'm trying to conceal. And then I will get the lighter color and just do a little bit under my eye. I just dab it and then just, and especially under your under eye, you want to go really gentle and just kind of buff it in. Side note, if you're doing like a smoky eye or using darker concealer, darker eyeshadow on your eyes, do your eyes first and then do your skin makeup or complexion makeup, just because if you our eyeshadows don't have a whole lot of fallout, but some do. And if you get there's nothing worse than getting a bunch of fallout on eyeshadow or on foundation that you just finished. So that's what I've learned. It's a great tip. I sometimes forget, but, and then I'll just do a little bit of the lighter color on the, like if you make an imaginary triangle right there. And then we'll just buff it in. Now, this foundation and concealer has been used, so it's been on the market for 60 plus years. It's been used in theater, print, television work, runway. It's been used probably in every facet of, you know, that one would need makeup. So, and it has been voted one of like the best, I think, like all-time foundations like ever, by Wayne Goss, if you guys watch him. So it's amazing. It really is. I sometimes tend to get caught up with like buffing everything in and making sure everything's just nicely blended and things like that. But to me, if you have your complexion together, like your foundation and everything together, the rest of the makeup should be a breeze, and then it just makes it look like sometimes if I'm running errands, I'll just do my concealer and foundation, a little mascara, and that's it. Like maybe lip gloss, and that you can just go, because you just look finished and you look flawless. So to me, that's what I spend the most time on. So there's the concealer. Now moving on to foundation. The foundation is very, very similar. Our foundation is very, very pigmented as well. So here's my foundation. So that is the one that I use the most. I've been using this one a little bit to contour and in the winter months, just because it's lighter. But this one is like the love of my life, this color right here. And this is Shinto 2. I have had this one. I also got this one. I didn't get that one in my kit. It didn't come in my kit, but I ordered it like 2 weeks after I got my kit. And I got, so I think that was probably like the end of June, the middle of July, I want to say. And like I said, it's the middle of December now, and I've hit pan, but I still have so much more to go. And I have one Where's my other one? Where's my foundation? I have these in Shinto 2 in my color. I have them on standby because for some reason, Shinto 2 must be one of them universal colors where it's like, girls like me, where you're kind of olive skin toned, you're pretty fair, but at the same time your undertones are like olive. I know a lot of people with a lot of different coloring that uses Shinto 2. Actually, since we started selling, well, since Limelight's been getting so popular with just all of our products, but our foundation. So our foundation is made by like a family-owned company. They've had the same factory for like decades, and everything is hand mixed, hand poured. Since we've started selling it, they can't keep up. Like they can't make it fast enough, and so they are now in the midst of getting a new factory, a bigger factory, figuring out, I don't know if they're gonna figuring out how to go into production so that they can make them faster and we can keep them on the shelves, which is amazing. Like that, you know, that's what Limelight does, is it makes, you know, it's amazing that because we've just been sharing our love for these products, it's made a difference in that family's life. And you know, I mean, it's like, if my biggest problem with Limelight is that I'm having a hard time getting the foundation because we've inundated the people that make our foundation, and so they are having to go into production and make, you know, make their factories bigger. I mean, that's not, if that's our biggest problem, that's wonderful. You know, as a business owner, I think that that is so great that we've kind of blown them up like that. And I've known about this foundation for quite a while, to be honest, because I have heard about it being a makeup artist, and I've always wanted to try it, but I just never got around to it. And then when I heard that this was the foundation that Limelight has, I couldn't wait to use it because I've just heard so many good things about it, and it's amazing. Like, I will never, it's different than any other foundation I've ever used. So, but anyway, so here is how to use it. So again, here it is. I'm using the same brush. Well, I think this maybe, so I'm using just like I use like a stippling brush, like a buffer brush. You also can, what a lot of people do is use a beauty blender. This is our Blenderful. You can use this as well. You can use it dry if you want more of a, like, if you want more heavy coverage. You can use it wet, obviously. What I do when I use this one, just real quick, is I have a spray bottle of water right here, and I just spray it like 4 or 5 times and just squeeze it just to get it barely damp, because I have a problem where every time I like wet it under the sink, no matter what I do, I always get it too wet, and then it just, because I have oily skin, it just makes it look that much oilier. So that's how I do it. And I just, like I said, I just kind of, you know, you just do a little bit, and then you just kind of like stamp it on your face, and then you just blend it in, and it looks beautiful. I may do a video about this as well if you guys would like me to, because it's amazing. So that's one way to do it. How I prefer to do it, especially in the summer months, is I use a stippling, like a buffer brush. And what I do is I just get a little bit, which is a little bit difficult because it's all gone in the middle, but I just kind of go like that and just do like a swipe. Like that. That's all you need. I kind of just stamp it in the places where I need it. And then I just buff very, very lightly and just kind of work it in. Now, because you've used your concealer, this is just going to go over everything and just make it look a lot more flawless. The thing about it is it's so lightweight that I don't feel like I have anything on my face. And so this foundation is wax based, which is a great thing. You might be thinking like, oh, candle wax, I don't know if I want that on my face. So what it does is this foundation sits on top of your face almost like a second skin. And so it doesn't soak in. I don't know if you've ever had foundations where it's like I'll put on my foundation even after a primer and I can see it like settling in my pores, and I can see it like kind of just like, it's almost like it soaks in, or it just kind of settles in your skin, and then you have to like either reapply, or you have to, I don't like foundations like that. This sits on your skin like a second skin, but it's not heavy at all. But it just as a concealer, it just does what it's supposed to do. It's really, really nice. I make sure to get the corners of my noses really well because I get really red right here, and then also I tend to itch my nose a lot because I have allergies, so I get in there really well. And let me just make sure that I'm happy. And then that is it. Now if you see like the sheen, now if you see the sheen in my forehead that looks like natural skin, it's amazing. It looks like natural skin. That's what this does. Like, I really feel like I don't have anything on. I feel like I have like moisturizer on my face. Like I said, in the summer I tend to just do foundation over just a really, really thin layer just to make you look a little bit more polished and put together, and then you're good to go. I just love how it looks like normal and natural skin. Now there is a little bit of sheen, and because I have oily skin anyway, throughout the day my face will start to look oilier. So what I do is I kind of powder it down with our translucent powder, which is this white one right here. It's totally colorless. It looks white in the thing, but it goes on totally colorless. And what I do is I just tap it a little bit, and then I just kind of pat down on my oily areas, and then just kind of like work it in a little bit. Just like that, just to make me look a little bit more matte. Because I think that with just me having oily skin, I'm a little bit paranoid of looking oily. So I prefer a matte look. So I just kind of like a mini bake, if you will. Just kind of pat down. I let it sit there for a minute, and then I kind of just buff it in. Now I'm just showing you this, but I tend to do this after. So I do my foundation, I do my bronzer, my blush or highlight, or any combination of whichever those I choose to do that day. So I do all of my face makeup, and then I do this powder. So what it does, like if you had bronzer and blush, when you go over it with a translucent powder, it just kind of blends it in a little bit more and kind of buffs out any harsh edges. So that is what so at this point I would be, you know, ready for like eye makeup, lip makeup. So yeah, that is it. You know, I feel like I said, sometimes when I just want to be out and about and I want to look fresh faced, and but I don't want to necessarily wear makeup, I kind of cheat and do foundation and concealer. If you really wanted to look just like rosy and natural, we could do a little bit of blush. And that's it. Looks natural. Honestly, this is like the best foundation I've ever used. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know. Check the information down below. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.